And now I'm joined by Tim Tyrrell, the other half of Survival, the founder. And Tim, you have a wealth of experience when it comes to the building trade. You're also a lawyer. What has been your real passion, with that experience in mind, when driving Survival as a brand and a business?
I'm not going to go into too much about how it all started with Michael as a 4-year-old, etc. That's 33 years ago. But that was the driver for us to make sure we were safe in the home, and then it went from there. We then realised that it's not just in the home that you want to keep people safe. You clearly want to keep people safe at work as well. And then in the businesses that we set up and the businesses that we ran, we needed to make sure that our staff were safe. I'm happy to say 20 years ago, we didn't have we had first aid stuff always there, but it was nothing like the first aid kits we've now got access to. And we just didn't understand fully our duties of the things that we have to do.
Yeah.
Now in this current climate, it's even greater. I mean, I didn't want to be in a situation ever that I would go back to a person's home, to their wife or their mother or their family, with one of my employees' lunch pails or helmets or tool belt or anything like that. I didn't want to ever do that. That was my driver.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, we all as employers have got a duty to protect our employees.
Yes.
Now, whether it's being in a formal work site or whether it's the work from home that's now happening with all the COVID, and it's going to increase the working from home because it's shown that it does work.
Yes.
It's a bit tough on my wife at times, of course, when I'm just sitting there the whole time in the living room.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that apply in the workplace at home now.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that if a child gets electrocuted because there's a cable across from the printer, then hopefully they're using iFirst Aid and they can resuscitate that child without any problems. If you have a cut because you're using a Stanley knife there, you've got to be able to bandage. You want to be able to grab a first aid kit, hopefully a survival kit, and you're going to wrap it with the bandage and the pressure bandage if you cut a vein or an artery, etc. And you're going to do all the first aid to ensure that you're not going to end up with a serious injury or worse.
Yeah, so, and also that, and sort of onto that part that we were talking about, is the employer has that responsibility.
We've got a duty.
They've got a duty, yeah.
We've got a duty to protect our employees, whether they're working in your formal office in a high rise in Sydney or Melbourne or whatever, or whether it happens to be at their 2-bedroom apartment in wherever.
Yeah.
So we've got a duty to protect those people, but we don't want to talk about that in a negative sense. It should be a positive thing. It should be a very easy thing to do. Of a package of making sure that your employee understands what to do if something, unexpected help happens in your now workplace, which is that home. You've got the knowledge, but you've also got the physical bandage or the physical, it's a splash of some chemical from the kitchen or something that's splashed into your eye while you're making a cup of tea.
Yeah.
I want them to be able to, at least if you don't have saline, which you should have in your kit, you're certainly flushing it out with you've taken the tap out of the sink and you're flushing your eye out for that 10 minutes to make sure there's no permanent damage to your site. All the different things that make sure that your employee will never ever get a permanent injury or worse.
Yeah, brilliant, thank you. So Jerry, as an experienced architect, design is obviously at the forefront of your passion. What made you feel so passionate about this first aid kit and setting it up so beautifully and easily accessible?
Mandy, I wanted to make sure that everybody could firstly find the kit, and then when they found it, that they could find every component inside the bag and know exactly what it was used for, and if they needed to restock it and they'd used it in an emergency, they could immediately look at the label and know that they needed to get more of it and what number they needed to purchase from our restock.
Excellent.